Hi, my name is Trish, the Core.Behavioral Therapist, and my guest today is a phenomenal woman. Her name is Airika Adams. She was born in South Florida. She went to the College of Academy of Arts in San Francisco, and she got a degree in advertising, and she can tell you more of that. Hi, Airika, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. So can you tell us about your what you went to school for?
I went to Academy of Art University. I did advertising, creative strategy.
Mhm.
Fun fact is like originally I did like photography
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm gonna go to school to be a photographer. Like I
right.
love doing that stuff. And then I went to like my first class and they were like talking about f-stops and lighting, and I was like, I don't have time for this. All I care about is like Photoshop. Like I can just fix it up really quick, and instead of going to like a 6-hour class. And they were like, well, I cared more about the concept than the actual process of taking the picture, which was like slapping photographers across the face. That's horrible. So they were like, you need to go to the advertising department if you only care about concepts. So I was like, okay. And I went to the advertising department, and
So you ended up loving advertising. That's pretty awesome.
for like different like types of campaigns and stuff. And then after that was like 2014. And then after 2014, I ended up going to work at like this this engineering firm for like a year, called like Guide by Cell. And what's so funny is like it was like this guy and he just wanted to like create all these type of like tech apps, and I was doing like a project managing there. But
Okay,
that's when I started to get into tech, so then that just led me to Wix.
that's so awesome. So you're in tech and you work for Wix. I remember visiting you there. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you do at Wix? More creative or
um
advertising type of things, or?
Actually, no. So I have not I have not used my advertising
Oh,
at
wow.
all. Yeah. So I deal with like product at Wix. So right now I'm working on the chatbot. So helping those features get pushed out and building some stuff and AI and machinery type things. Um, it's really fun. And I also do SEO, and
What's
that was
SEO?
something I worked. So SEO is like it's search engine optimization. So it was like the product where after you finish building a website on Wix,
Yeah.
like your website needs to go on Google, right? So what we would do is like there's like a builder kind of like a flow that you would have to go through after you build your website.
Yeah.
And it make sure that you've done like this checklist of things to make sure your site is listed on Google, to make sure you have keywords, like stuff like that. So that's kind of like what I was doing. What I had been doing at Wix.
That's so awesome. I actually use Wix for one of my websites, so everyone
Yes.
should use. Airika, you also have a podcast. Can you tell me the name of the podcast?
Oh
Or
yeah.
the name of
So
the podcast?
my podcast is called Fresh Melanin. It's actually a co-hosting, so it's me and I have also a co-host called her name is Anissa,
Uh-huh.
and yeah. So we have been doing this podcast for about like maybe like 3 years, I want to say.
That's a long time.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty long time. It's a really long, steady road, and you have to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um, we enjoy it so much that we don't even like look at how many like listeners we have half the time. We have to like remind ourselves, like, oh, go check. We literally love just talking about tech. It's like an on-air safe space for women of color in tech, and we just talk about like different topics, and then like put our 2 cents in inside of it. Think of it as like talking about algorithms and
Yeah.
then also talking about like Cardi B. So
Oh,
it's
I love
like a little
Cardi
bit of
B.
like everything.
Shout out Cardi B.
Yeah, shout
Cardi
out to
B
Cardi
from the
B.
Boogie Down Bronx.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So when you look at your algorithms, what has surprised you about the algorithms? Algorithms are
Um,
basically, you want to go into that a little bit, explain what that is for some folks who may not know?
yeah. So basically it's like What's the best way to explain it in layman's terms? Okay, so think about it like Instagram. Instagram does things a certain way. There's an algorithm to Instagram. So if you do something, then something happens and then it learns off of this and it just keeps going. So that's kind of like an algorithm. That's what I would say it is. But also I'm like the queen of Siri, where I'm just like, hey Siri, what's an algorithm? And like I just say, okay, this is what it is. But that's kind of like how I think of it. But
That's awesome. I'm the queen of Google. I just Google stuff.
look, yeah, literally on my Instagram, that's my bio.
Really? What did it
Certified
say?
Google searcher. I
Oh, look at that.
swear it is on there. I have no shame to.
No shame in
I
your
can
game.
find information. I love it. I love data. I love finding stuff.
Me too. I looked at mine and I only so far have listeners from the United States, but it would be cool to branch out and see other countries and people listen,
Yeah.
which is cool. But I just started out. You've been in the game for
It'll
a few years
happen.
now.
Like I go on there and I see people from like India and like I don't even know anybody. Like
Yeah,
I don't know how these people are listening or they're loyal though. So I'm like, I love you. Like shout out to you because
nice.
whoever you are out there, like I love it. But also like I think what happens is people put your podcast uh on other platforms, or if you have an RSS feed and you take it and you put it through certain distributions, it'll place it automatically in other places. So maybe that's also how you get listeners from other places. And I always like, I'm constantly commenting on people's posts, like in my
That's smart.
podcast account. Like I'm always like boosting people up, like, yes, girl, like this is amazing. I love it. It just builds community too. And I make sure I talk within the community of the people that are interested in my podcast.
That's awesome. You're changing
Yeah.
the world. Women in tech.
I love that you're changing
Women
the
of color
world.
in tech. That's a big deal, I think.
Yeah. There's not a lot of us.
No, there's not. There should be more. Um, I know a little bit personal history about you and growing up
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We actually met at church and we served where together? We actually
Oh my
volunteered
God.
together.
Yes. Resources.
Shout out
Yeah.
to resources. If you sell books, if you sell t-shirts, shout out
Yeah.
to you.
Resourcing people to Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. It's also a great way to meet people too. I mean,
No, you know what? Okay, so that was my story.
let's
I
hear
did not. I did not. I was like, I want to get involved in church. I want to, not just like be there. Like, I really want to get involved, and I wanted to go there so that I would build community. And I was like, I
yeah.
can't build community because what I did was I go to church. I'd be there right after PSG, waiting for the doors to open. I'd play my video game on my phone, and I just wait there for the doors to open. And then I was like, okay, if I want to meet people, but I have a lot of people don't know, but like I am very like social anxiety to the max. Like I do
I did
not
not know that.
yeah, I'm very introverted, like around groups. Like I don't like to be the center of attention. Like I don't want to go on
Why?
stage.
How come?
I don't know. It's like just not my thing. Like I don't want to do any lives. Like I don't want to do anything like that. I'm serious. I just can't. So I was like, I need to find a volunteer group. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do resources because with resources, I'm not forced to go up and speak to people,
They come
or with
to you.
they come to you
Snaps,
exactly.
snaps.
And you know what else? Not only do they come to you, they cannot pass this border because this is like my safe space. Like nobody can come
No.
across.
I've met a lot of people that way. That's cool, yeah.
I met so many people, like the same people come up all the time, or new people, or it's like a safe space, and like people come to the resource center when they don't know anybody. Also, it's like when everybody's like just up and paired up or just talking and stuff. It's like you have nowhere to go. You're gonna go act like you're window shopping. Okay, you're gonna go over here and just. And I'm just like, yeah, hey, what's up? I'm here again this week
That's so
again.
real.
So
It is. Can you talk about I'm really happy you found resources and it makes you
yeah.
happy. But can you talk about the social anxiety? What does that look like for you?
I would say it's more of just like I like to just be in my own zone. I think that's what it is. Like I like to just, I don't like hugs from other people. Like I don't want to, I like to have my bubble. Like don't cross this line. Like you stay over here, I stay over here, and we can still communicate and talk. So, and I don't like, I hate saying this. I sound like a horrible person, but like, I suck at group activities. Like I don't.
How do you know? Have you tried?
Yeah, like when I do it, it's fun. But like when it's like something that's forced, I just don't like. I'm not with it. Like I get very like, oh,
Yeah.
like I rather just watch. I'm very much of an observer. Like I rarely am gonna be like just saying something out of the blue unless I'm like you sit right next to me at work and you've known me for this long period of time, or like I really, really, really know you, and like we're in like I don't know, just like one of my best friends, something like that. I'm not somebody that's gonna be like, like all over the place. But I like to just keep to myself sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So were you loving the quarantine then when we were all
Girl, yes.
I saw your
Oh
videos. I
my
know you did.
gosh. I was loving it. I still am. Like, I mean, thank God I have a job, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And thank God I mean, this is a one time actually I wish I had roommates. I don't have any
Right.
roommates. So it's literally just me and my cat. Shout out to Leslie.
Right.
So it's just me and my cat, and then just more of like it's great. It's me in my element. I can be at home all day. But now that it's like I can't go outside and I can't really do much, it kind of like sucks a bit. If I could like still go on vacation, that'd be great. But
Yeah.
I've been still like managing fine. This is good for me. Like I really enjoy being by myself, not having to like leave or be in like a group setting, or I'm just like
Well,
relaxed.
I saw your videos and I was like, wow, this girl is having such a great time by herself. I want to be like her. Can you talk about your videos on Instagram?
Wait, which video?
Oh, girl, you know which videos. You were like,
Wait, which?
she was like dancing. She was in a dance
Oh yeah,
class. I mean,
yeah. So
you're
look,
getting it done. Like, seriously.
I love dancing, and so funny because of how much of like introverted I am at certain times. I'm like sweating in my armpits are sweating. Like when I go to those classes, I'm the one who, when they do the warm up, they do like a warm up, right? And you walk back and forth with your heels on. And I will go in the bathroom. I kid you not.
Why?
And
And do
until the warm up is done. And then come out because I just want to learn the choreography. I don't want everyone to watch me as I walk across the floor. Like I don't want any.
wow.
I'm that
Wow.
I am that social. I have that much social anxiety. It's kind of like funny, but like I don't. I'm not like crying about it. I just know myself, and I'm like, I just want to be here for this part. So I
Yeah.
just tell myself I don't need to be here for this part, and nobody is like, oh my god, where's Airika? So it's okay.
No, but so you knew your
But
limits. You knew your limits, but check this out.
exactly,
You were dancing in
exactly,
front of people.
and just to be able to record it, like,
Right.
and that to me was like and that's one of the reasons I took this class. Shout out to Ashley Worley because she's a great
Really?
choreography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, choreographer. I'm sorry, Ashley Worley. She's in Oakland
Oh,
at
okay.
Trillion Studios,
Mm-hmm.
and she I went to college with her actually, and then we just hung out like maybe like 4 years later randomly. Like, oh, hey, I didn't know you were a dance teacher, and she was like, hey, I haven't seen you forever. So
Cool.
her classes give me so much confidence and make me feel so good about myself that I continue to go even when I'm scared. I'm like, all right, continue to go even when I'm in quarantine, you know, and even when I'm just like by myself, I'm still gonna like take the class, and I'm still gonna like feel in my element and feel like sexy, and then also just feel very confident and good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Would you say that helped you get through the whole isolation bit with the social anxiety and working for a tech firm? That basically dancing, being around people, and actually publishing your videos. Would you say that helped you get more peace within yourself? No.
Yeah, I think dancing definitely gets me out of my element. It gets me out of my head. It also not even just dancing, like just doing something that is not work that I can enjoy
Yeah.
and be proud of. Like right now I'm also taking like a class, this intro to computer science class, and it's difficult, but I really, really love it. And I'm doing it for myself. So stuff like doing things for myself make me feel at peace, because it's like I'm no longer putting energy into other people. And I think that's also part of the social anxiety that I have a lot. It's just putting so much energy into so many people that by the time like I'm at home, like I feel like I'm so just drained, you know? So
Yeah.
being here like at home for me is like re-energizing. Like I feel like I'm gonna be able to do so much stuff when I get out because like of how energized I am. It's like I've been on a charger for like 5 months, and like now I'm fully loaded 100%.
Wow, that's great. Like, so did you have energy to date and stuff during quarantine? Going
Yeah, you want to know what's
to
funny? So like, yeah, so what's funny is, so I have a boyfriend, and
wow,
he
congratulations. Awesome. You got a boyfriend during quarantine?
No, which
COVID?
is so funny.
Oh,
So we were dating before quarantine,
I was like, oh,
and
that's your secret.
yeah. What's funny is like, no, listen. So we were dating before quarantine, like, and then he actually moved to New York, in like
Shout out
around
to New
December.
York.
Yeah, shout out to New York. I'm shouting out New York. I've never even been there. Like, shout out to New York. Don't listen to me, no. But I'm like, yeah, I'm just
It's
going
all
along.
good.
No, but he actually moved to New York in like December,
Okay,
and then COVID happened in New York, and I
dang.
was in SF, and like it was just like what a coincidence. So
I
yeah,
actually
so
heard
we
this
were actually
happened
dating
to
before.
I heard this happened to a lot of people where they met someone right before COVID and
Yeah,
got into relationships, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, and then the
yeah,
relationships are just starting and stuff. So how
yeah.
did that happen? How did you maneuver all of that?
Well, no, we were actually dating for like 2 years.
Oh,
Like we've been dating, and so it's just weird that he moved in December. And this is the first time I've been in a long distance relationship,
mhm.
so it's kind of like new to me, but it's also very worth it. So I think if anybody does anything like that, make sure it's worth it, and make sure it's something that you really want to do, because it's not easy, but it's
Oh,
worth
it's
it if
not.
you
It's
want.
not.
Yeah, no, it's really not easy at all. I have to like talk myself.
Dedication, and a lot of trust, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of trust. It's also a lot of like understanding yourself and understanding your own needs and understanding how you feel like you're loved. So a lot of the times, well, I don't want to speak for majority, but for myself,
Mhm.
it's a teaching point of learning more about myself,
Like,
versus
oh,
like,
mhm.
yeah, no, just versus like learning about us as a couple together. So I think that it's really good. I feel like also space is good for people. And not a lot of people like to hear that. It's not like the
Oh,
best thing to
true.
hear,
It's true.
but space is space. I mean, temporary space, I'm not saying like forever, but um, it's good, it's healthy, and it also helps. Sorry, it also helps with like lots of knowing yourself. Not it not helps with knowing yourself, but like it helps with the way you learn about yourself.
Okay. That's so interesting, so cool. I think you brought up a really great point. I think a lot of people are getting to know themselves and push themselves during this time. Um, and then all of a sudden, the Lives Matter movement
Hmm.
hit. But reality is, it's always been around. It's just that, and
Yeah,
I said this in a couple other episodes. Video is now at our fingertips, so it's just getting much more recognition now.
yeah.
Has this affected you in any way? Or no? What's been happening in the world
It
of social
depends
media?
on effect. I do think it does affect me because like all of a sudden like everybody is talking about it,
Right.
And before, like, I mean, I talked about it. Me and my friends talk about it all the time because that's just how we live. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those
Right.
are just our normal everyday experiences.
Mhm.
Or you just hear from somebody, or you'd have an experience and talk about it with your friends or something like that. And I'm talking about like my Black friends, or just like anybody that's like a person of color that I've been hanging around with for a long
Yeah.
time, to trust and talk to somebody about that. So for us to, for now the whole world to talk about it, it's just like a lot different. It's sometimes I get very like uh it's almost like that social anxiety thing again. It's like I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like now everybody wants to talk about it, and just to like, sometimes for me it becomes like I just want to close my door and leave the voicemail on and be like, everybody go ahead and say it, and then when I'm ready, like I'll just listen to all the voicemails.
Yeah.
But that's not how life works, obviously. So I feel like it affects me because it's teaching me how to be okay with just listening and not having to respond all the time.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been like learning while this is happening. Just been listening,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
but also at the same time, it's kind of an eye opener as well, because a lot of people I didn't know really cared about stuff like this. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
I
You know,
know, right? I was shocked.
I was
I'll
like,
just
wow,
be real. I was shocked at some people that were coming out on social
yeah,
media. I was like pleasantly surprised, but shocked.
yeah,
So I totally feel you with that, and thank you for answering that question.
yeah.
Really appreciate that. Have you ever had any issues with cops?
Um, you want to know what's funny though? When you said that last time, I was thinking while before we got on the call again.
Yeah.
Um, I have twice, but
What?
yeah, no, listen, yeah, I had to think about it because I was like, have I ever? I was like, no, but like, listen. So one
Yeah.
time was it twice or was it once? What was the other one? Okay, so I'll tell you. Once was my friend. I went to one of my friends' housewarming parties,
Nice.
and it was like insane. Like it was a beautiful house.
Hmm.
It was like so many people in the house, maybe like 60 or 70 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was late, like maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, like and I'm like sitting on the porch with like two of my other friends, and there's like I said, like music playing, and then all of a sudden we see like two cops come up. Yeah, like and I'm like,
Okay.
oh crap.
Can I
Like
ask
come
what
up,
race they were?
huh?
Can I ask what race they were?
Oh yeah, they were just two white cops. This
Okay.
is an SF.
Okay.
So this is like maybe like I want to say almost like 2 years ago or last
In
year.
San
So,
Francisco?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
So it was right there by in Potrero Hill. So
Yeah.
yeah, two cops come up, and we obviously have been drinking, like we're just sitting down, just chilling.
Yeah.
It's like the end of the night, and just having conversation, and two cops come up and they're like, is this your house? And we're like, no. like, no, like this is a house party, like da da da.
Right.
So they ended up they wanted to speak to the owner of the house, and like I went into my two of my friends that were sitting there.
Hmm.
They were white. It was so funny because they were more scared than I was. They were like, oh, like
Wait,
not even saying anything.
question. Were the cops talking to you, or were they talking to you and your friends?
They were talking to all three of us.
Okay.
It was just three of us sitting on the front porch.
And your friends were more afraid than you.
Yeah, it was just funny to witness. My friends were like, well, and I'm like, no, it's not our house. Like, we're at like our friend's party. Like, it's a housewarming party, blah, blah, blah. And so they were like, oh, okay, we want to speak to the owner. So I go inside, and I bring my other two friends, like, get inside so we can tell, what's his name? I'm not going to mention his name, but let's tell him to like the cops are outside.
Hmm.
So I go inside. I'm like, the cops are outside. Everybody freaks out. Like, it's only like, in my music, it's only like three black people.
Scene from a
Me,
movie. where everyone runs out.
Yeah, it's like me and then these like two other black guys and then everybody else is white. So we're like, they're like, oh my God, the cops. And then my friend is like low key, like hiding, like he doesn't want to talk to the cops. I'm like, wait, is this even your real house? Like, why are you scared? Like, should I be scared? Like, what's going on? No, but like to wrap it up, but like had to convince him to like go speak to him. And they just wanted like the noise to be turned down or something
You
like
had to
that. But like,
convince him to go speak to the cops.
yeah, because he was
Wow.
like, I can't, like, I'm so scared. Like, I was
Oh.
like, oh my God, like, I told him at one point, I was like, I should be scared. I was like, you are like a male, a gay male, and you can do this, okay? You can go speak to the cops. Like, I should be the last
That's
person.
it, all the gay boys out there.
Yeah, I was like, you can speak to the cops. It's gonna be fine. But yeah, so that was one incident. The other incident was like when my dad. That was like it was last year. No, it was the last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I was in SF here at my house.
Can I just interject and say laughter is pretty much healthy? We
Yes.
recall history and things that have happened to us. Sometimes we're like, holy poop, like how the hell? How did I
Yes.
do that? And then you
I
start
think about
cracking
that all the
up.
time.
Yeah, it's like, anyway, I have to
Crazy.
just interject, and no way are we laughing at, bad things, horrible things that have happened.
Oh yeah.
We're
No, this is like literally like we're not laughing at anybody or at a situation, and we're not endorsing anybody to go do these things. It's just I'm
exactly
just telling like some experiences that I've had, which is only 2 times I've ever spoken to cops, which is
I
kind of
want to
crazy.
hear the second time. Let's go.
The second time was it was Christmas of last year, and I got like my gate. Somebody called me at the gate, and I'm like, they're like, "Is this Airika Adams?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, well, this is the San Francisco Police Department. And I'm like, okay, what do you want? And they're like, well, we need to do a safety check on you. I'm
Excuse
like,
me? What?
I never even heard of that in my life.
Me
So I
neither.
was like, they were like, can we come in? I'm like, no. Like, no, I'm not going to let the cops in my apartment. Like, what the fuck? Like, no.
Right.
So I didn't let them in, but I did go downstairs. So I was like, I'll go down to the gate because they can't come in the gate unless I buzz them in. So
Right.
I went down to the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's Christmas. I'm thinking like, what is going on? I'm thinking like, dang, I hope nobody died. Like that's the first thing I'm thinking of. Like somebody's dead, dang.
Right.
So thank God nobody died, disclaimer. But I go down, they're like, oh, we had to do a wellness check on you because I said, who asked for a wellness check on me?
Right.
They're like Eric Adams. That's my dad. So my dad had called the cops on me. Yeah, my dad called the cops on me because he could not get in touch with me on Christmas. I'm like, dude, it's not, it was like 8 a.m. I'm like, it's like 8 a.m. in the morning on like a Saturday. I'm knocked out. I'm like, I went to the movies like the day before, like on Christmas Eve, like in Oakland and came back at like 1 a.m. or something like that. And I was like, I'm knocked out. I didn't even eat breakfast. I'm like in my pajamas talking to the cops. What's going on? And I just was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I just went upstairs and I called my dad. I'm like, why would you call the cops on me?
Right.
Like, what? But also I was mad at him. I told him, don't ever call the cops on me ever again.
Wow.
Like I told him he put my life in danger. Like, and he was like, relax. I was like, no, you really did. Because I was literally not going to answer the door.
Yeah, and what would happen if they broke in and
yeah, so that was just a whole crazy situation. But it was funny. Like I was like cracking up. Like Merry Christmas to me. Like
what if cops knocking at your door
right?
Check. Shout out to the dads out there though, the caring ones. My
Right?
goodness.
Shout out to him. Like, no, my dad does not play. He will like find me and whoever took me. Like what's like he will find me. Like no matter what.
Yo, my dad did the same thing. He couldn't find me in the college dorm room I was in, and he would have my sister call all these different dorm rooms looking for me.
Oh my God.
It was horrific. I had my friends knocking on my door looking for me, and it was just one day he did a surprise visit on my tail, a surprise visit. I had a boy over, and and my dad was so strict, and I almost like, whoa, I almost read. I couldn't believe it. And it wasn't just my dad, it was my dad and my mom and my sis.
Oh crap.
Down the hall. because I shared the floor. That one side was girls and the other side
Yeah.
was the football team. So
Okay.
so my dad was very, very worried. Do you want to say what your dad does for a living or no?
Oh yeah, no, my dad's he's a cop.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was definitely checking up on you.
Oh yeah.
What's it like having a daddy that's a cop?
Um,
Growing up with him as I don't even know how long was he a cop for or is?
as long as I've known him. As long as I've known him.
So it's sort of norm. So can you describe a little bit what it's like growing up with a cop?
Um, I mean, I don't really see it as like growing up with a cop. I see it more as just like I really don't think there's anything that's like noticeable different than other people's families, other than like I went to um his jail once. Like I went to I've been like inside and got to see stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Um and I think I rode in the cop car once, like with the siren. I feel like I remember like or with the sirens or like was it I think it was just like around the neighborhood, like and I thought that was like so cool when he would do that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, no, we talk about the law all the time. So like not all the time, but more now that I'm older.
Yeah.
We have those type of conversations where I kind of just like it's more of me asking like why is this such a thing or like how could I like not get away with anything, but just more like what like why would this happen and how could things like, be different, etc. But he's been pretty chill.
That's good.
I've never had to use him yet. I'm saving that card.
I was gonna say some of the people I grew up with who knew cops, if they got pulled over, they're like, "Oh, my dad's a cop or my uncle's a cop," and then
I've
they.
never been pulled over in my life. Mm-mm.
Wow, you're
I've
blessed.
never been pulled over.
You're blessed. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, you are blessed.
No, the passengers are blessed because you don't want me driving. Oh my god, that's like one of my main goals in life is to have. This sounds so horrible to say, but like how people just have like these amazing goals. They're like, oh, like when I'm, get this type of money after you're like giving to the charity and all this other stuff, they're like, I always wanted like a Lamborghini car. Or people are like, I've always wanted like a big house. Like that's when I know I've made it. Or like, something like that. Or like I've always wanted to travel or something. I'm like, my little thing is like, I've always wanted a driver. I've always wanted, I've always, because I hate driving. No, really. I hate driving and I feel like it's a really big
Really?
responsibility. And I've had a lot of friends die from drinking and driving. And just like, even I've had friends like die from just getting hit by cars. Like I know at least like 8 or 9 people. And it's just like a lot. And to me, it's like, especially when you have passengers, I'm like, dang, like I'm in charge of these people's lives. Like it's just like a lot.
Yeah.
So it sounds so funny, but like really. So and also like when I started to like, if I had a cocktail or something like that for happy hour, I love happy hours.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to drive. I wouldn't have a sip of anything and drive ever. So
So you want a
that was like
driver? That's your life goal. You want a driver.
like that's like one of my like, like my bucket list. Like
That's
I
awesome.
really, really, really I want to be able to be like, I want to go to Tahoe today and like
Yeah,
just be able to go. Like,
that's so awesome.
yeah, just be able to
That's so
go.
awesome. It's good to have goals like that. It really helps like us feel good, especially with our mental
Yeah.
health and just striving for goals
And think about like life. Like, I feel like it's people, especially now, right now, I mean, and we should, like, within the climate that's happening, like, we need to, like, stand up for, if we see something that's being, if we see something that's happening that is not within justice, like, we need to be able to speak up and we need to be able to say certain things. And we need to be able to, like, just like make sure that we're doing things correctly and like within the kindness of our hearts and like treating everybody nicely. But also we have to remember that life is still low key going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody has struggles right now, like,
Yeah.
and I just always want to just try and like make sure that I'm trying to phrase this correctly. I want to just make sure that like I don't just say people are laughing, but like I love just having encouragement and like just being able to like it's okay to laugh, like, right now. Like I feel like sometimes people are very afraid to just like
Yeah.
laugh, or people are afraid to just like, say that they're not okay or that something else is bothering them other than what the majority of the world is caring about right now. And I don't want people to feel hesitant about being their true selves. So even though sometimes I'm like, dang, like I didn't want to say anything about me wanting a driver. Like there's Black people dying right now. Like, well, how do I sound right now? But then I was just like, you know what? Like it's okay. Like, I have to remind myself and remind other people in the same time, like it's okay that you can do both. Like you can still
Exactly.
live and still have these crazy, wacky things that you wish you could do one day.
Yeah. And it's a great balance. We have to find
Yeah.
balance.
Balance. That's the word.
Yeah. Erika, it was a pleasure having you on. This was so fun.
Yeah.
I had just a great time. Erika, can you would you mind giving your social media handle if anyone wants to follow you? I think it's really, or if,
No,
oh,
no, I'm
okay.
just kidding. Yeah, of course I will.
She was
You guys can see her face. You can't see her face, but I can. I thought her face was like, okay. I was
like,
like,
okay,
no,
that
yeah.
can you also
So,
give your podcast as well?
yeah. So my Instagram is Airika Adams, AirikaAdams, and my podcast is called Fresh Melanin, like the melanin on your skin, and fresh like the smell of sunflowers, fresh melanin. And yeah, so you guys, we're on iTunes, we are on Google Play, Spotify, basically any place where you can listen to a podcast. And yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome. So I hope you all got that. Airika Adams is her Instagram, and Fresh Melanin is her podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you, Airika.
No problem, girl. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
I
Bye.
love it. Bye.